So here's a quick post. Not very long, but it's absolute gold. About a guy who handles things like a boss by immediately dumping his girlfriend when she started really applying the pressure of getting married. Really laying it on thick. But here's the thing. This guy made it abundantly clear from the beginning of the relationship he doesn't want to get married. He had very bad personal experience about that with people in his family, which you're going to find out. And she knew about it, and he said she made it act like she was on the same page. Well, guess what? Things have changed, and obviously she thinks that he has an attachment to her, and she's doing what so many women do, and it completely backfires, and she's having a full-on meltdown, all that. And I'm doing this for three very important points, guys. I make this point clear as day. Number one, women often do the bait and switch. They'll act like they're cool as something and going along with you, and then change their mind when they think you have an attachment to them. Can't make that any more clear, whether it be marriage or having kids. How many stories have I covered where that exactly happened, right? They do it on purpose, thinking that they'll change you and that, they'll lay an ultimatum on you and you'll go for it. Lesson number two. This is why you can love your girl, but don't be in love with her. I know it sounds very harsh, and a lot of people will be appalled by that, but when a guy is in love with his girl, he makes foolish decisions. He will then go along with her ultimatums and stuff like that because he's afraid of losing her, and she knows this. It's connected with rule number one. So if you love her but not in love with her, when she pulls crap like this, you can move on. And last but not least, is simply if you're not compatible, then you shouldn't be together. Major things like your attitude towards money, marriage, kids, and all that, if you're not eye to eye, it's not going to work. She's never going to change. And you're going to see this. So it starts titled, Am I the a-hole for ending things with my girl after she started talking about marriage? And a shout out to Tito for sending me this short story. Now listen to this. He says, Hi guys, I'm 27 years old and have been with my now ex-girlfriend, who's 26, for 2.5 years. Early in our relationship, I talked pretty openly how screwed up I think marriage can be. Okay, he laid it out from the get-go. My parents had a really nasty divorce when I was 8 years old, and I saw what it did to them. And when I was 15 years old, my brother went through a brutal divorce and custody battle that left him borderline wanting to off himself. Right there. The people he's closest to. Now, if he was 15, his brother got married. I guess his brother's... this guy's the very, very little brother here, but you see the point. After this, I vowed to never get married. My stance was always pretty clear on this subject. She never pushed back on any of that, and we seemed on the same page. Well, clearly not. We were happy with a solid connection. However, about a month ago, she started talking about how it's crazy that her friends are getting married now and wondering how our life will look like in 5 years. Translation, oh, I'm getting older. All my friends are getting married. I want to be a star. I want some insurance. Thinking this guy now changed his mind. I know what she was implying with that and tried pivoting her away from it by saying that marriage isn't the end-all be-all like there is, and there are enough unmarried couples who are committed to each other. Some of the best, happiest couples I know, guys, are couples that have been together for a long time, but they never got married. Then why do something that... but problem is that women, most people are sheep, and they want to do what the rest of the herd is doing. They've been fooled by the narrative from novels and the theater and shows and movies. They can have their happily ever after. It doesn't work that way. And how many marriages begin from an ultimatum or some nonsense or a pregnancy? But last week, her dad pulled me aside after a family dinner and said that I need to step up if I was serious. That is not cool. The daughter and probably the mother manipulated him into doing that. I just nodded along because I didn't want to talk about it. I felt the subtle pressure closing in, like they were kind of conspiring against me. There was BS going on behind the scenes. I get if a parent, like a father, doesn't want his little girl being used and stuff like that, but come on here. He was being manipulated into confronting this guy. Well, 2 days ago, she brought it up directly. She said she loved me, but needed to know we were headed somewhere long-term and stable. If she wants long-term and stable, then you don't get married. If you want short-term and unstable, get married. Because you know what? Statistically, 60%, give or take in the USA, it ain't going to end well. And if you stay together, it ain't going to be unstable. You're going to be roommates. You're going to be hardly sleeping together. You're going to be unhappy. But Here we go. She asked me if I saw us getting married one day. Didn't he make it clear as day he didn't want to get married? Here we go. She's hoping he has an attachment. This hit me like a freight train, and my chest locked up. All those memories, what marriage did to my family, came rushing back in. I told her I couldn't give her what she wants. Straight up ended it right there. Nice, dude. Boss move. Right there. This is what happens when you don't have attachments. This is when you love your girl, but you're not in love with her. Imagine if he went along with doing what he didn't want to do. It would have been miserable. She was stunned and crying, saying that I blindsided her. If there was blindsiding going on, it was you, honey. You and your dad. Since then, she's been texting me nonstop saying she didn't mean to pressure me and just wanted to talk about it. Bullshit. She absolutely was trying to pressure you, and it wasn't just a conversation. She was hoping you'd cave. But I don't know, it doesn't seem like this can be salvaged. And that's the abrupt ending here. Now, before you all leave, the comment section is the other part of the story. You got half the people supporting him, and other half people thinking, why doesn't he want to get married one day? And I'll read that in a second. No, it's good he ended it. Because guess what? The odds are she absolutely bait and switched him, hoping he'd change his mind, or she would change his mind by getting him attached. And you could see that the ultimatum was coming. But she completely underestimated this guy. And I say good for him. It's not easy to do that. But I think he's smart enough to never fall in love. Because you're out of your fucking mind, and it's for fairy tales, it's for movies, it's for the fucking theater, you know? But good for him. Because if he would have married her, the same thing would have happened. And I might add, she would have lost respect for him because he'd go against what he wanted to do. And now she's chasing after him. They can't be together because they're not compatible. She obviously wants to get married. He does not. Even if they had a good time prior to this, time to part ways. Now listen to the comment section for people that were agreeing with what he was doing and people not agreeing. Here's the first one. This individual says, if you truly can't handle the idea of marriage, and if she needs marriage, then the relationship is over. Okay. But why are you so against marriage itself? If your parents had never been legally married, do you think their splitting up would have been amicable? Custody battles exist regarding a marriage, and splitting up joint assets still has to be done if a couple splits up, regardless of marriage. So what is it about marriage in particular that you're against? Because I don't see how not getting married would allow you to avoid these issues that you have discussed. Well, people that don't get married but are together typically, statistically, stay longer and they're happier. And they just simply, because when people get married, they, let's be honest, let themselves go. I saw some friends the other day that I haven't seen in a long, long time. And believe me, they don't look anything like they used to a decade and a half ago. Both very much overweight, let themselves go. Great people, right then and there. And they're not so happy. And there's countless other examples. It doesn't have to be with body weight and stuff like that. And guess what? What do you have against marriage? 60% divorce rate. People that stay together usually end up being like roommates. They let themselves go. It's just on. And it's not what he wants. And he has a choice. Now here's somebody agreeing with him. This guy says, I'm sorry that happened to you, but trust me when I say she's going to keep bringing it up. And it will get to the point where that's all she will talk about. It's not like you didn't tell her from the beginning that you have no intention of getting married one day. She knew your feelings but did not care, and I don't know for sure. Obviously, but she probably asked her dad to say something to you, figuring that he could convince you to propose. This is a very bright red flag. If she can't respect your choices now, just imagine what it'd be like if you actually did get married with her. Good luck, you're definitely not the a-hole. Thank you. Very sensible. Like I said, if he would have married her, then she'd know she can get her way with him, and then there'd be less respect, and then there'd be more BS, and whenever she didn't get her way, she would do ultimatums and play mind games, probably withhold the loving in the bedroom. Made the right choice. And now she's chasing after him. Guarantee you, her friends are going to be bombarding him with texts and stuff. You're such a jerk. Why'd you break up with Jessica? Just ignore him. Another one. This one's giving him a hard time. Says, you need to work out your problems before being in a relationship with anyone else. Your reaction is completely irrational and exaggerated based on trauma you have. That's completely valid, but it's not the way to live. If you don't want your life to be controlled by outside forces, and just sail by. So there's another person that just will refuse to accept the reality. Irrational, exaggerated. No, they are completely different places in life. He doesn't want to be married, period. She does. It's not irrational, exaggerated to end it with her, realizing this isn't going to work. And not to mention the fact that she was playing games. She was trying to apply the pressure. She was turning the screws tighter and tighter on him. And one more says, not the a-hole. You were 100% upfront with your intentions to never marry. Didn't mean you weren't committed to her. It meant you were never putting a ring on that finger. She knew this and then tried to force you into a proposal because my friends are getting married, which is stupid in itself. I understand the FOMO she's experiencing, but it needs to be a wedding and marriage that needs to be, then she needs to be, it needs a wedding and marriage, then she needs to, he wrote that wrong. I'm going to skip that part. You aren't open up to it, and that's not changing. Her dad asked you not to waste her time, and you took that to heart and ended it with her. That might not be the outcome that she wanted, but you didn't blindside her. How you feel isn't new, and you never promised her otherwise. This is a compatibility issue that's not going to change. If she needs and wants a marriage, she needs a new partner with a similar mindset. Her assuming you'd change your mind or she'd change it for you is not fair. Thank you. That's exactly it. She was banking on the fact that this guy had an attachment and she could twist the screws. You know, the next thing was literally coming out of her mouth, the ultimatum. That's the only thing we didn't have yet, but you could see, for those of you who've lived long enough and heard enough of these stories, where it was going. So he made the right choice. End of story. If he gets back with her, she'll give the waterwork. If he gets back with her, here's what's going to happen next. She's going to get pregnant, either by him or somebody else, and then hoping he'll propose, and then getting the pressure on him. So no, he should stay away from her. Certainly don't sleep with her, and he may miss her at times, but it's not going to work out. But guys, he handled like a boss. This is what you got to do. You got to do what's best for you. And again, statistically, these things don't work out.